A lot of the Young Scholars Academy community members are maybe just in this place, like it's eighth, ninth, 10th grade. My students starting to fall apart. I'm asking these questions. You know, do you have any advice or questions to maybe foster some reflection or strategies or anything that these families might be able to utilize?
Um, I think one of the best pieces of advice when my kids were little and they couldn't go into a bedroom or a bathroom and actually do whatever it was that I asked them to do, like go get your shoes. They would go into their room, and 15 minutes later, I would realize they were still not back in the kitchen ready to leave. And I would find them on the floor playing Lego, or they had found a dead fly and were examining it. Strange things. And I couldn't figure out why they weren't doing that. They would go into the bathroom, brush your teeth. The water would go on. I could hear it happening. And then I would find them with wet hands and nothing else. And it's like, what's going on? Why are they going into a room and not doing what they know? They come out, they know what they were supposed to do. They didn't do it though. And I was very good at yelling. Not my favorite thing to admit. And then I went to one of my first CAD conference and was fortunate enough to wander into Andrew Mahoney's talk about executive functions. And I was crying the entire time because that was the first time that I heard my child described. So when I'm talking about executive function and I see those tears in the audience, I know that I've given that blessing to somebody else. And that's why I do it. Because the younger they are, the easier it is to help the family rally around that child. But what Andy said was, if he's not brushing his teeth, go in and brush your teeth with him. And I'm like, what? Huge idea, right? And, it turned brush your teeth, brush your teeth, brush your teeth into cracking jokes, seeing who could not spit on on the mirror, trying not to spit on the mirror, but cracking jokes at each other. And of course, there were spit takes all over the place. But you know what? It turned a chore and a negative experience into something that we all needed to do. But we did it joyously then. And it changed everything. And so this experience was now a joyous experience. So eventually they could do it by themselves. But we have to switch it around and say, what scaffolding do we need to give our kids? And that's the key, is we're not enabling them, but we are enabling them. We are giving them the tool that they need. We are their executive function while they are developing theirs. Our kids are asynchronous. What falls apart the most? Who am I thinking? Ed Amend, and not Ed, I'm sorry. Paul Belgian will tell you, because he wrote this chapter in the misdiagnosis, the new misdiagnosis book. Yes, our kids can be delayed in their executive functions. Why? They're thinking about everything else in the world. Okay. They walk through a door. They know what they were supposed to do walking through that door, but they walk into this wonderland. And I'm sorry, pick up your shoes was not part of the wonderland. It's something else. They go into the bathroom. They've got this water fountain. Oh my gosh, what happens to the bubbles? Can I make the bubbles float? It's a science experiment. The bathroom is not a place to wash your hands. It's a place to explore. And so they get distracted by wonder. And how do we work with our kids to keep their wonder and help them survive until they can make a balance out of those two things? Wonder and getting things done and doing things they don't want to do. So we're supporting them until they can do it together. And you're not always saying, go pick up your shoes. But if they come out without their shoes, it's like, do you remember why you walked into the room? And they start thinking. They might be there for a minute or two. Be patient. Shoes? Yeah. Do you see them? Grab them. And yeah, it takes that extra time. And that's where that patience needs to grow. I needed to change as a parent. I needed to change just as a person in order to support my kids. So that's how I coach my parents of my students, is how can we adjust your home just a little bit, just tweak it, so that instead of take out the garbage, take out the garbage, take out the garbage, that we can start with, take out the garbage, but not quite yelling. You know, how can we go through that pattern? What is it about that third time, which is the only time that they hear you? And how, what is the behavior? What do we change? And of course, I'm talking mostly about executive functions, because they underline as what you do in your practice, in your scholarly, in your classes. You're using something that is wonderful, that they love, that they're excited about, in order to support their executive functions.